Yeah, wanna yeah, wanna know yeah.
Hello, this is Ryan Riccitelli with asnews.net and the Kiteboarder magazine, and this is actually videocast, webcast / podcast number 63. I have Jeff Tobias. He is live in Australia, and we actually have a video feed for those of you who are watching it in the lounge, and for those of you who will get the post-recording, unfortunately, you will not be able to see the live video. Let's give a little backgrounder on Jeff. Jeff is often credited as the originator of the heart attack, which is a kiteboarding move, and was one of the first pros to throw and land high-powered kite loops. Jeff Tobias has been a pro rider for Slingshot since the beginning. He stepped back from competition in 2004 to work on special projects such as a surf DVD, spare change, and to make a take a more active role in the R&D of Slingshot. Jeff is our guest for podcast number 3, and he is here to talk to us about what he's been up to and his vision of the sport. Slingshot's new R&D kite house in West Oz and the new Turbo 2. So, Jeff, I read that just off of a script that Marina Chang prepared for me, but why don't you tell everybody hello and tell everybody where you're at?
How's it going, everybody? Quick little change to the script there. West Oz is not quite where we're at. We're on the Sunshine Coast, which is north of Sydney in Queensland.
It's only a few thousand miles away.
Pretty far up north in the tropics, so you can tell as I'm sweating here a little bit. It's nice and hot. But yeah, we're over here, and Slingshot's got a house so we can test year-round because it's damn cold at the gorge this time of year, and the only thing they're doing is snow kiting. So we got down here, it's actually not a house, it's a mansion with a big pool and a huge facility where we set up all of our sewing machines and kite tweaking material, and we're down here just tweaking out on kites and perfecting everything that we've been working on.
Well, Jeff, you know, we've got a lounge full of people tonight, and there's actually a video player in there, and people are actually watching you as you're talking. And the interesting thing about this is the first time we've ever done this. And, you know, to all my naysayers out there who get bummed on my audio quality, I apologize tonight. We're doing the best we can. Jeff is actually speaking out of his speakerphone. He was at another location where the upload speed wasn't fast enough, so he raced to, I believe you're at Border Magazine, and their office.
That's the magazine headquarters.
And they're helping out. So anyway, I just want to say I'm sorry about the sound quality, and we'll try and do the best we can to make it through this video cast. But anyway, why don't we get into some of the questions? It says, first question, you used to divide your time between the gorge and Oahu when you were traveling for Slingshot or competitions. Is Australia your home now?
Well, you know, for the past 6 years, I've been on the road most of the year, 8-9 months out of the year, but I try to spend 2 to 3 months a year down here. I love it. A lot of time in Western Australia. But now over here on the Sunshine Coast, we've got this facility, and you can test year-round. So I think I'll be spending quite a bit of time dividing it between here and Hawaii and other trips that we'll do, promoting, demoing, and getting some waves around the world. So, yeah, Australia's kind of second home to me, and I love it down here. So, yeah, like I said, we're down here on the Sunshine Coast, and I've finished the testing and all the R&D on our new Turbo 2, which is our low platform kite. Slingshot's focused on 3 categories this year, which is the tried, true, tested fuel, the Link, which is a hybrid, and then the T2, which is our straight-up bow kite. And that's what I've been working on quite a bit. It's a new adventure for me, coming from the sea kite platform and really kind of a hardcore sea kite rider. I've always been a little bit wary of the bow kites when they came out and everything. And a lot of great issues, but they had and a lot of problems that I didn't quite like. So I took on this project to help out with those issues that they had and try to make the kite, give it the pluses of the sea kite without taking away all the pluses of the bow kite. So in this kite, we've got an amazing range, incredible stability, and incredible water relaunchability. All this in a simple 4-line kite. So, coming from me, there's been riding fuel for my entire life. Actually, this is what I ride now. This is what I prefer to ride. Not only in the waves, but jumping around, cruising around, all kinds of freestyle. This is the kind that I like to ride, and I think the good thing about it is it's going to be a beginner kite all the way up through to an advanced kite. So we're pretty proud of all the advancements that we've made on it, and we've got a lot of slingshot specialties that we've learned over the years and applied to this kite. Obviously, the main things that we've improved on the Turbo Diesel 2 this year are the things I just talked about. Things I didn't like about it before, about any of the boat kites, was inverting, backing up, falling out of the sky. This kite's designed to be a safety kite. I mean, that was one of the first reasons for these boat kites was, a safe kite that you could completely depower. As everybody found when they're riding them, some people picked up and they learned how to fly it, and they got it easy. And some people had difficulty with it, and it would fall out of the sky. The kite that falls out of the sky is not a safe kite to me. So immediately I was against these boat kites, thinking this, sure they depower a lot, but they've got a lot of negatives. So we've worked that out. This kite does not fall out of the sky, will not nosedive, will not invert, and made with a super slingshot tough construction. We've got a ton of features that I will go over when I walk you through the kite. But basically, all the things the problems that boat kites had, we solved, and that's about it. Now, let's we'll go to the bar. The bar is an even simpler one. I don't have to tell anybody on that. Everybody knows Slingshot bar is based on our original concept, and that's rider simplicity. It's the safest, the easiest, least amount of BS bar that you can buy on the market. And everybody's tried to copy the bar, but pretty much we've done the R&D on it. We've made a few changes to the bar this year. One major one is the insert hole, the aluminum one, is now one solid piece. So it's a lot smoother, a lot less wear. The sidelines that go with the pulleys are extra thick and made out of Spectra. So when you're water relaunching your kite and pulling on them, super easy, no wear and tear. We've got a 23-meter line, some standard set on the bar, and active stopper ball, which gives you immediate power and depower settings for the kite. The kite's got an amazing range, and yes, the question that a lot of people answer, can I have a two-kite quiver? With a kite like this, you can. I flew the 14 yesterday in about 12 knots. I flew it about 2 days ago in about 25 knots. And the thing shuts off when it needs to, pull in a little bit, and you've got full power. So I can travel now, with two kites and manage around the world. So that was one of the claims early on with boat kites is decreasing the quarter size, and that really works for me because there's so much negatives in the high end, all the wobbliness and the surging. We've done a lot this year to cancel that out. There's no surging, no wobbling. The kite is as solid and stable as a fuel, but it has 100% D-power and all the positives of a boat kite. So without showing you guys the kite, which I will do soon, that's about all I'll say about that right now. All right. Let's see. Common questions that people are asking on a lot about this kite, and we've got a ton of questions that flew in over the internet over the past few days, and most of them ended up being similar questions and good questions that you guys all have. So we compacted a few here to try to answer as many as we can about the kite.
So why don't we start with this one? What kind of rider and riding conditions do you think the Turbo 2 is ideal for?
Oh, well, that's actually a good question. It really is a decision between the rider. The kite itself is designed for any rider in any riding condition. I mean, I can't think of a condition that I wouldn't ride it in, and I can't think of a condition that a beginner wouldn't ride it in. So, we've developed 3 platforms of kites, and they're all top performers in each of their platforms, but it's really just a matter of preference. If you're looking for super safety from a beginner level and something with 100% D-power and a wide range, then our full-on boat kite, the T2, is the kite. We next have the Link, which has many of the same aspects of the T2, but it's also got a little bit of the fuel in it. It's our hybrid kite, kind of down the middle. You may lose a little bit of the range. It's a little farther back in the window. But if that's the kite that you'd like to fly, that's going to work in all conditions too. We've got our wake-style guys and our free-style guys and our hardcore fuel lovers, and they're going to ride that in any condition also, from beginner to experience. The best thing about these boat kites is it's made it that much easier for beginners to get into the sport because they are safe now. We've taken away a lot of the negatives that the boat kites had in the beginning. This is an actual really safe kite, and I could put it in the hands of someone who's just learning, and within a few minutes tell them what to do, and they're not going to go kill themselves. So I hope that's something that we've really accomplished with this kite. Hope that answered your question there.
I got another question for you. So what changed from the 06 kite to the 07 version, and how do these changes affect performance and address past issues associated with many of the first-generation bow kites, like inversion?
Well, that's the cool thing, about having all these platforms of kites is we're focusing on these things to be top performers in their category. So inversion is not an issue anymore. We've got a continuous swept leading edge, and there's just increased the stability of it. The thing is flying in the air, absolutely no power, and not falling out of the sky. So that's one of the main things. Stability. When you're flying a kite, when you're jumping, it doesn't overfly out of the window. When you jump and you land, a lot of the time the other kites would whoop off and nosedive. Now they tweak that out, and that doesn't happen anymore. Those are 2 big examples. And then another thing is, everybody remembers how much of a pain the ass it was to relaunch these things out of the water. Well, our bridle system and the way we built this kite, it relaunches like you wouldn't believe it. I relaunched this thing twice as fast as I would my fuel, and my fuel, that was one of the main things I used to brag about with my fuel, is how easy I could get it up and how fast I could get it up. Now, all this put together with the safety aspects, makes it a pretty good learning kite. If your kite goes down when you're learning, and let's face it, you're going to drop your kite a lot. It's got to be able to relaunch. And the first generation of bow kites, that was one of the big problems. These things relaunches as simple as it gets. Not that I recommend everybody doing this, but I don't have anybody launch me or land me anymore. Straight from being nose down in the sand, you can pull the line, relaunch it. I can drop it and set it down 100 times within 15 minutes now. That's I don't recommend doing that. You're always supposed to ride with another rider and have everybody help you. But the ease of relaunching this thing has been greatly increased.
Well, Jeff, here's another question for you. What is the wind range like on the new kites, and how do they do on the low end of their wind range?
Well, the low end has got a lot more than it used to. It's, like I said, you can go with a 2-tank quiver now because you can handle so much wind, and these things get so much juice out of little wind. I rode 17 meter in, no kidding, in 10 knots, and I was cruising upwind. I saw everybody get out of the water, and I know it sounds like a marketing push in what I'm saying, is what I have to say, but it's one of the best features for me that I've noticed is I take this kite, I don't sit on the beach with a wind meter, I don't sit there and contemplate what side to take and get out there and realize, oh crap, I'm on the wrong side. The low end has increased incredibly, and you can gain power out of these kites so much better than you could before, and it's also done with a lot less stroking of the kite, a lot less working. the flat kite. It's done a lot more with just the ease of pull on the bar, pulling in, pushing out, and gaining that power. So keep that quiver is a possibility now.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to ask you. You really believe that that a 2-kite quiver is a possibility? You don't need like 3 or 4 anymore for most riding conditions?
Well, as a professional and somebody who kites pretty much every day, I'm going to have every size that I want because I'm a professional. But not everybody can do that. So the ability to have a 2-kite quiver, for sure. A 9 and a 14, you can go anywhere from 10 knots to 30 knots. And I think that's pretty much 99% of the wind range around the world is in between those two numbers there. So, yeah, if I'm tight on space and I need to get somewhere, I'll take a 9 or a 14, and I would be fine.
Here's another question. Many riders do not know the importance of maintenance needed for a bridle kite. What are your recommendations?
Well, yeah, bridle kites are going to take a little bit more maintenance than your normal kites, obviously. You've got pulleys, you've got a lot of other lines and bridle lines, and you get sand in the pulleys. You get things can happen, but we've gone to great lengths and spent quite a bit of time and money improving our bridle lines. We've got all reinforced spectral lines. Our pulleys are heat sealed around the pulleys, a double pulley system to keep the sand and grit out. There's no metal parts moving in there. And we've also come up with a new spectral line that we use, the Dynamo, is a no-stretch line. That was a problem that a lot of people had after using their bow kites for a while. You get stretch. And how are you supposed to figure out which line stretched and which didn't? So we've got a no-stretch bridle system. That's definitely, the more expensive way to go, but it's one of the things that you don't want to have to worry about is checking your bridle every 5 sessions. So you think you're set to go, bridles are going to last the lifetime of the kite.
Well, Jeff, you know what? Everybody's getting antsy. They want to check out the new kite, so I think it's time for you to unveil it.
All right. Well, I'm in the garage here, so bear with me on my space issues. I got wakeboards everywhere and all kinds of junk and stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the camera, pick it off the tripod here.
Just make sure you speak up into your phone. You're doing good. Sometimes you fall off. I think it's just you get further away from your phone, but just try and speak into your phone, and we'll be able to hear you. And for those of you who are going to be listening to the live or the podcast tomorrow, I should say, or you're listening to the audio podcast, I apologize. You're not going to be able to see the brand new kite. We will be post-producing this video, and we will be releasing it, and we'll probably have it done in a week, as Jeff has to send the actual tape over from Australia. And we're also going to incorporate some footage of Jeff riding on the new kite, so something to look forward to.
All right. Well, it is a bit hard to see what we got going here from our vantage point and with all the cables and everything that we've got going. You can see the shape of the kite, the continuous swept leading edge. It's really, really difficult to see what's going on here. Obviously, you can see one thing is our tailpipe protector here, Bridle's always good stuff when water relaunching on the end of your tailpipe. We've got that protector there. We didn't go with the Slingshot technology. A lot of people want to know why does this T2 not have a Slingshot. Now, and these both kites don't need the reinforcement and the rigidness of a fuel kite, of a sea kite. So that technology was not used on this kite, so we could better create a more stable and continuous swept leading edge and a better canopy. I really don't know if I'm wasting your guys' time with the light conditions and everything. Maybe.
Hey, Jeff, you know what? I think we lost the feed. Sometimes happens, man.
All right. What we'll do is, in regards to people wanting to see the kite, and I know you guys are dying to see a lot of the kite and the bar and everything, is I'll post up some video clips that I have that'll make it a lot easier. That way I don't have to sit here with wires connected to my head and into the walls and computers and cameras and everything, because anytime I move around, internet connection and everything else gets a little bit weird. So although I do have everything pumped up and ready to show you guys, I think if you just tune in maybe over the next couple of days, we will upload some video of the kite, and you can go on any of the forums and ask me some questions about it then, and I can also answer it then. So maybe we'll turn this over a little bit and get to another subject or something, Ryan. What do you say?
Yeah, sure. So there's no way you can just at least pan to the kite? I mean, I know everybody is just dying to see this thing. I know it might be a pain in the butt, but is there any possible way we can get a glimpse of this thing, man? I'm even excited to see this.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it one more go. I'm gonna move very slowly, hopefully, and try not to knock anything over here. So give me one sec.
No worries, dude. And if we fall out again, we'll just reconnect again, man. It's Thursday night, man. We're the best party in town, Jeff. For those of you complaining about the sound, we're doing this off of a cell phone, and we're doing this in Australia, and yeah, we're doing our best, folks. So this is the first time anyone's ever done this in the world for kiteboarding, and Jeff is not a computer tech. Basically, I talked him through how to patch in all the encoders and everything. So he's not really good at engineering this thing, but it was what we had to do to make this happen and to bring this to you.
It was a quick glimpse at it, but I just have no room to move around here. So the best way is going to be tomorrow. I'll upload the video clips, and you guys can see a lot more of the kite.
Yeah, it looks good, Jeff. Actually, we're getting some. I mean, we're getting some glimpses of the kite. I know you can't do the full walkthrough, but at least people are able to see. You know. So what's the difference in the profile between this kite and a previous version?
Yeah, well, it's a true bow kite. So, the platform is the same. They tweaked it out to take away a lot of those issues that we talked about earlier, with the continuous thrust leading edge and a different draft point, and that just is, and the bridle was a really important part too, and that just really increased the stability of it, and also the high end riding of it. When you got lit, the other ones used to surge a lot and move a lot. This thing cuts through the wind window like nothing, and has completely eliminated that problem. I'm going to go ahead and put this back on the tripod because wires are falling everywhere. I'll give you a quick glimpse at the bar here.
What size is that kite, Jeff?
This kite here is my Special 7. It's fun, super fun kite. It's actually still a bit of a prototype, so I can tweak it around and just find different settings. We do have our final settings set, but it's always fun to be able to have options, and that's why it's got all these little attachment points that you can see along there. Dan O.C., who is our product manager, has been down here with me, and he's been tweaking it out, and we've been trying to find the best possible way for this thing to fly. We got it sorted out, but I still like messing with it and seeing what more we can get out of it. But we never stop the R&D process, and that's one of the reasons why we got this house down here, is to just continuously keep going. And with the 3 platforms, you can't stop. You got to just keep testing, riding, and testing and riding. So I'm going to go ahead and wiggle my way around here.
I just saw a question come in the lounge, and it said, on the bigger sizes, will there be battens like the turbo diesel?
Good question. No battens in this kite. Thank God. So there's no need for any battens in this kite. The canopy, the Markov canopy, and the way it's constructed is given its stability, and there's no need for any battens. So I know a lot of people would be happy with that one.
And actually, I got a question coming out of the lounge. It says, what? No split strut?
No. That's the question I asked when they were making this kite was, why did we not incorporate the split strut technology that's helped us out in our fuel kite? And the reason is, and I still didn't quite fully understand it. Like I said, I'm not a kite designer. I like testing and giving input and tweaking and figuring this stuff out. But apparently with these bow kites and this one, you don't need that stability and that extra rigidness in the kite to, you don't want it to be rigid. This thing, it flies different and it's not a needed thing. So there's many reasons why they didn't put that in there, and I know that's a big question that everybody's asking. So it's not needed, and you get a cleaner, smoother outer line canopy.
Well, and here's another question from KT in Oregon. He says, how will the T2 be marketed, as a beginner or a more advanced kite?
Well, like I said, we've got the 3 platforms, and it's a preference issue. I definitely think that this is our safest kite, just because it does have a 100% D-power, and it relaunches out of the water easier than any other kite. It's durable. We've got a lot of things to increase the durability. With the bridles, like I was mentioning before, that was a major problem that people had. The bridles are all brand new and done up to last long. We have neoprene, actually, is what wetsuits are made out of. All the front stitching on the leading edge has neoprene patches because these kites sit differently in the sand, and they rub and they wear a bit. So that was one of the issues, was the leading edges, the stitching come undone. And that issue has been taken care of, so no more problems with that. And the durability of this kite is like a fuel. It's a 4-line kite, simple. Have to worry about it exploding when it goes down in the waves. It's tough, it's strong, it's stable. And the original question, what was the original question?
What was the original question? The original question was basically, who's the kite marketed towards? Is it marketed towards beginner or the advanced rider?
Yeah, and I think I did answer that by saying it's just a preference thing. Beginners are going to be drawn to it more because of its safety and ease of use, but it flows all the way up into the advanced range because everybody wants safety and ease of use, but it's also got the wide range and the ability of having a 2-sight quiver. Who doesn't like that? So, and it boosts. This thing jumps high. I've been jumping the past few days, which is something that I haven't done too much in the past year due to a couple injuries I've had. But I've been out on this thing boosting, and it gives you a great loft, really smooth flying through the air, and really nice landing, which is important.
And what's your favorite?
It's going to be marketed as our bow kite platform. Anybody who likes bow kites, there's absolutely not a better kite on the market than this one. So if you're a bow kite person, you're going to like this. If you're a sea kite rider, then the fuel is still there, and the fuel's been tweaked and perfected, and is even better than before. So it's a preference thing. I hope everybody gets out there and tries each kite, because I know a lot of people, I've been noticing by doing demos, tried the first generation of these bows and didn't like them. And I was one of those people. So I hope everybody goes out there and gives these things a try now, because all those glitches and all those problems we've taken care of.
Here's a question from Katana from England. Katana said, the bridle issue on the Link seems to have been sorted and feels that it has turned out to be a good kite so far, but she wants to know why the problem happened in the first place and why it was released publicly if it was not ready, and how can Slingshot assure customers that the same mistake will not happen with the TD2? Yeah, I got you on that one.
That's a good question, and I get asked that question all the time. And you know what? The bridle issue was your mistake, and Slingshot has stepped up to the bat and taken responsibility for that. We had everything sorted out, and when these things came back from the factory, they don't just come back one at a time. You do an order, and they come back, by the thousands. And the factory made a few little errors, and the bridles came back a little wrong. Now, it took a little while to figure out what was wrong because, when they left the R&D headquarters, they were right. We loved them. And when they came back in the thousands, they made a mistake. And I think that's a really good point to all this. And it's actually, as much of a pain in the ass as it was, it's a really good learning experience for us as a company, me as a rider, and I think all of the public and all of our customers is, we addressed that issue. And we realized that the mistake was definitely put on us. And we went back to the factory and we corrected that issue. And now everybody that has had that has got great customer service and got the new red bridles. And the links now with the new red bridles are phenomenal. There's no problem with them. So, yeah, we apologize to everybody for that factory error and guarantee that things don't go out the door or to the factory without our 100% approval now. So, we actually have guys flying to China with the stuff to make sure that nothing leaves that factory unless it's perfect. So what you can expect is something like when a guy cheats on his girlfriend, you mess up once, you make sure you don't do it again. So we're putting extra attention on everything that we do just because nobody wants that. We don't want that. We don't want a product going out that wasn't right, and unfortunately that happens. So we put extra attention in making sure that nothing gets done like that.
I've seen a lot of great kites come out, and I've seen every manufacturer just about have issues with kites. And I like your analogy of the cheating on a girlfriend thing. But we'll move on to the next question: what sizes and what sizes this is available in, and when do they start shipping?
The sizes that are available are we have a 7, a 9, an 11, a 14, and a 17. I'm sure there will be some smaller ones in there that we do make, and I've got a 4 and a 5 myself. I'm not exactly sure if those are going to go into production. It takes a hell of a lot of wind for a kite like that to be used, but the 7 has so much range that you almost, even if you're the smallest person, don't need something like that. So those are the sizes that'll be shipped initially, and I believe they'll be shipping mid-February. Samples are going out to dealers now, and I'm doing demos, and a lot of the dealers have their samples or getting their samples within the next few days. So if you are near a dealer or a Slingshot retailer, keep in touch with them and try to get out there. Hopefully they'll do a demo day, or I'll be stopping by your beach and we can get out there and flying.
Well, there's a bunch of questions that are coming in from the lounge, and we'll try and make it through most of these. It says, first one, what colors is it, and what colors and designs is this available in?
Well, you saw the color scheme. I'll quickly turn around the camera again and show you the scheme. It's got a Slingshot look that we've all come to know. But we've got some cool colors. I've always been a simple color guy myself, but we've got some Rasta colors. We've got some really interesting color schemes, and I believe you'll be able to check that out within the next week on the website. And I can't sit here and tell you, we got blues and blacks and greens and everything, but you saw the color scheme, and you pretty much got, there's about, there's a ton of different color schemes that will match up with that. But check on the website in the next week, and you'll be able to check and see what we got going. Cool looking kites though.
We got another question from Todd JB123 from Maryland. He wants to know, how would you compare the T2 design and flying characteristics with the original turbo diesel and also the Link?
All right. Well, the original Silver Diesel was one of the first generation bows, and like I've been saying, over and over, that's, it had the D-power. We were on the right track. All the kite companies with the bows were on the right track, trying to make these things safer, easier to use, and decrease your quiver size. Unfortunately, the first generations had, their problems. A kite like this, that is marketed partly towards beginners because of its safety and stability and relaunchability. The first generation lacked a lot of that. It did fall out of the sky. You did have to be somewhat of a knowledgeable rider, I felt, to actually fly it. As well, I felt the fuel, you put it in the sky, you wouldn't think about it, and you just sit there. Now, it didn't stop pulling, though. So an inexperienced rider would just get, in any kind of gust, would get yanked or in any kind of trouble. So these kites have got the stability now to where they're no-brainer. You can fly these with your eyes closed, and they can still depower 100% without nosediving. I can't say that enough. Flying directly over your head, release the bar, it'll just fly and sit there. No nosediving. And if they do go down in the water, which, beginners, intermediate, advanced, everybody drops their kite. And you want to get it up quickly. So the water relaunching has been a major advancement in this kite. So stability, ease of use, and water relaunching are three major improvements we've made this year, along with the improvements in the actual physical kite itself, like the neoprene seam guards and then the bridle lines, no stretch bridle lines. That's a huge advancement. But those other three are the main advancements that we've made in this kite.
Well, and we got another question coming in. Would this be the kite to learn on? I guess basically, is this the kite that you would push to of all the Slingshot kites that are available, is this the one that you would sell to a beginner kiter?
Definitely. This is the kite that I would want a beginner to learn on because of its safety issues and its ease of use. The point is you want to get out there, you want to get on the water. You can go and try to learn how to surf on a 6'3", or you can grab a longboard and go out, and you're going to get more waves on the longboard. You're going to learn, and you're going to progress faster. Let's face it, we all want to progress, And in kiting, progression can happen a lot faster with the proper equipment. So this is definitely the kite that I would recommend to anybody getting into the sport, just because if it hits the water, you're going to be able to get it back up, and not the end of the session. You're not walking back up to the beach. And it's safe. You don't want to see any accidents. So this is the kite that I would recommend to anyone that I know learning from now on.
Well, I got a question that I just actually pulled out of the lounge. Elkis Bry. So that's Brian Elkis from Michigan. He wants to know how the kite rides unhooked.
Sure, Brian. Good question. I'm glad I can answer some actual questions that interest me. That's a major issue for me, is to be able to unhook. Although I ride all kinds of styles, from freestyle to board ops to wake style to everything. When I'm on the waves, I got to be able to unhook, and I think I've rode maybe 20% of the waves on this thing hooked in, and the other 80% unhooked. The active stopper ball and the depower of it lets you set the power, unhook, and it doesn't drop. It doesn't nosedive out of the sky. It sits there, great stability. So yes, that's the answer to your question. You can unhook this kite. I wouldn't be sitting here and believing in something that you couldn't unhook with. So if I get this video up on the web that we've got over the last few shows that we've had here, you'll be able to see video and photos of me going down the line, maybe 6 or 7 turns before I hook back in and head back out. So super stable, unhooked and hooked in.
Well, that's awesome, dude. And gosh, we're at an all-time record. We have 47 people in the lounge right now, which is, to me, that's just amazing. We got 47 people hanging out, listening to this, watching you. And so anyway, I got a lot of great questions. I got a question from Original Copycat. That's his screen name. Is Ozone making all the SS kites now, or just the SLE bows, or is that a fib?
Yeah, actually, no. There's no truth to that at all. It's just a rumor, and a weird one at that. No, we just licensed out the one pump to Ozone, which we've been doing for a while now. So the one pump technology, as most of you know, that we came up with, is one of the best things that's ever been invented in damn kites. And that's where that rumor began, I guess. Well, they just bought the one pump technology to apply to their kites. That's as far as the relationship goes.
Anyway, I want to start filtering some of these questions because we got some really good ones. One of the most common questions that's been asked over and over and over is, what's the release date of the TD2?
Yeah, like I said, it should be shipping to stores and releasing, I believe, mid-February. Again, that's information that you could snag off of the Slingshot website over the next few days. But they're being built as we speak and being shipped as we speak. So hopefully they get out to everybody. It's a long process from the beginning to the end of when these kites actually meet the end consumer. And we're at the very end of that, so they should be there within a few weeks. But again, just keep in touch with Slingshot on their website and find out the exact dates. But we're within weeks of these things being out. And hopefully, like I said, your dealer should have samples in over the next couple of days. So keep your eye out for any demos they'll be doing. If anyone here in Australia is logged on right now, I'll be going down the coast and doing demos all the way down to Sydney over the next week. So you can log on to seabreeze.com and follow my progress and where I'll be. And more than happy to come on down to the beach and have you guys fly these kites. And then we're going to go and have a few beers afterwards and talk shop. So that's my program for the next month is Australia. So keep your eyes on seabreeze.com and some of the other forums.
Hey, Jeff, you know what? The lounge is asking that you hold up the bar again. They really want to take a look at that bar.
Okay. That means I got to put down the phone and the beer. Hold on. All right. Let me grab the bar for you. I'm going to set the phone down, so I'll just speak real quick. This is the bar straight out of the package. So I'll go ahead and unwrap the leash here, which comes standard. One of our station features that has been around for a couple generations now and works great. 4-line simplicity. I can't stress that enough on these bow kites. The 4 lines is super simple. We've gone with the standard 23-meter lines on them. That works great on that. I've even been experimenting with 18 meters and other line lengths like that. And Slingshot's also experimenting with different line lengths and colored lines. Everybody asks about colored lines in the snow kiting world. Yeah, we're experimenting with colored lines, and as soon as we can find some that work right, as soon as we find ones that don't break and work as good as white lines, then yeah, we will be bringing those to market. But as for now, we've got the best lines on the market. I'm sure most people know that. Like our bar, our lines are known for not stretching the bar here. And the chicken loop with your easily removable donkey dick, which one of the first things I take off, because if you're hooking a lot, it tends to get in the way. So I take that off. But this guy is still excellent hooked in. So people who like things hooked in, you've got your donkey dick right there. Safety feature number 1 here is obviously the red knob. This is not new to Slingshot. We've had this before. Simple pull of that opens up your chicken loop, as you know, and releases you from the bar. Now, your leash attaches. I'm going to go ahead and unwind it.
I'm kind of losing your audio, Jeff.
All right, I'm right here. I'll start talking a little louder. I'm not speaking right now, I'm just unwinding.
Oh, I'm sorry. And a quick question: what's the new texture of the bar like?
It's the same texture that we had last year.
Same texture?
Simple, light, easy grip. One of the main things, like I said, they have changed on the bar is this is one solid piece here. Last year it was an insert in the bar, and it caused a little bit of wear, and there was some problems with that. So now it's one solid piece throughout the entire bar, which I'm sure everybody is a lot happy with. My V-power strap now is down here on the bottom end of the bar. And what this does is obviously gives you the ability to shoot out and completely depower the kite because you've got no obstructions on the upside of the bar. Hold on, I lost my mic here. Let me get this mic situated. Now your leash attachment point. Hello. Your leash attachment point is up here at the top of the triangle of where the front lines come off. So if you do detach from your bar down here, your leash will activate this, and it kind of acts like a fifth line. It just flags the kite and falls down safely. And get a better shot of how that is there. Just a little Velcro bit there. Keep it still when you're winding your lines up. Doesn't one line doesn't flag down. So that's that. I'm going to go ahead and stand up and step back, and you can get a better look at the pulley system. The 2-to-1 pulley system, you can see a little bit. One of the main things that we've done here is this line here actually goes through the pulley and joins up here to the flat line. It's a spectral line, reinforced, and it's a lot thicker, as you can see. So when you're water relaunching, you're not grabbing onto any thin lines or anything that's going to cut you. So it's a really smooth, really easy to grab line with no wear. Once again, the bridle lines and these lines have no wear. So that's a big problem that a lot of kite companies have with the pulleys and all the things going on, the whole thing in them is wear. So we've got no wear on this anymore. Hold on.
Jeff, you need to quit drinking beers, man.
If you could only see the setup that I'm working in right here, you'd be drinking with me. All right. Anybody have any questions about the bar? Let's see. We've got, as you know, as I mentioned before, on the kite side of the bar, we've got the active stopper ball, which lets you set the power to whatever you want. We've also got the yellow power ball. You can see it there, which lets you customize your setting of how much throw you actually want on this. A lot of people don't need to completely depower if your arms are shorter. You really don't need to have this thing. You really don't need all the depower on this bar. So you can set this down a little bit. So it's just an extra customizing little piece. I'm sure most of you know that already. So that there is the bar, folks.
Then we got a bunch of questions coming in. It looks like we lost the video's stuck again. Did you happen to kick a line or something, or is there somebody on another computer there that's saturating the line?
I don't believe so. I'm showing we got video.
It just kicked back in, dude. Whatever you just did, it just kicked back in. So.
Oh, all right.
So oftentimes, if someone else is on a line, it'll saturate it down to a point where it starts skipping. So, yeah, it's all good. It's funny because my text, I have my MSN running. As soon as it sticks, I get like 5 orange flashing lights going. So, anyway, we're back on. I got a crap load of questions for you. So, why don't you just sit still and we'll just fire through some of these questions because I know these people really want to get some feedback from you. First off, would you consider this kite to be a wave riding kite?
Yeah, again, a preference issue. And a skill level issue. This is a kite that I'll be riding in the waves. It's my preference. Just because I can unhook it with ease, and it does have the range that I need. You know, oftentimes when you're out in the waves, especially when it's side offshore, there's a lot of gusts, and sea kites tend to be a lot gruntier and they pull a lot more. So this is a kite that I'll be using in the waves, but I could just as as well, seeing somebody else say they're going to use the link in the waves. So it's going to be a preference issue, and I can't stress enough, people, now that we have these platforms of kites, and when I say we, I mean us as a kiting community, now that we have these differences, you've got to really try them. So find your dealer and give them a try, because everybody's going to like something different. This kite works in the waves, what I'm going to ride in the waves, but I know Ben Wilson, who's down here with me, loves the links, and he's been testing those things, and he's loving those in the waves. So everybody's got their own preference, and I think it's great that we've got 3 platforms that people can test out and demo and figure out which one works best for them.
Well, another question that's coming in says, what site will we need to keep an eye out for these pics and videos? And we're going to be doing a post-production of this video cast. It'll be edited down, and then I'm sure Jeff will be posting photos and clips as well. So there'll be a very clean version of this with obviously all of the the drama edited out of losing the feed. But anyway, just to let everybody know. But what is the website you were mentioning? It wasn't really coming in clear because you were kind of away from the microphone.
Yeah, well, see, me sitting here in the garage, I really don't know how this is coming through to the rest of you guys. So, again, I do apologize if you're all scrunched up next to the computer trying to hear me or anything. So hopefully our post-production will come out a little bit better. And the website that you can follow for following me and my movements down here in Australia, if you are down here and you'd like to see the kite, is seabreeze.com.au. If you want for video feeds and little clips, keep an eye on Slingshot and on Kite Forum. I'm going to be posting some photos and just the first video and first photos that we've got of the kite. I've already got them taken care of. I've been riding this thing for a while now, so I'm just going to edit some clips and throw them up on Slingshot site and on Kite Forum. So keep an eye out for the post-production of this episode and then on those 2 sites, and we'll see if we can get a better look at the kite, and I'll do some more demos and show you guys a little bit more that it shows you that I'm connected to 500 wires here.
Yeah, exactly, Jeff. Here's another question. Would you ride a bow kite if you were still focused on freestyling, or would you recommend the T2 for a free rider that rides mostly on flat water and just sometimes on the waves?
Well, you know what? If you're talking freestyle, like wake style, then personally, no, I'd ride the Fuel. It's the kite that, works better in those conditions. If by freestyle you mean cruising around in flat water and jumping, doing spins and wanting to get big hang time and boots, then yeah, this is the kite. So you got freestyle, wake style, wave style. You got every kind of style, but the more skilled people throwing handle passes and doing tight loops and stuff, I think the Fuel works best for that. It's one of the best kites, and when I ride that style, that's the kite I ride. But when I ride in flat water, just jumping around, or when I'm riding in the waves, I'm riding the T2. So again, every condition has its better kite. Every person has its own preference, but for hardcore wake style and handle passes, kicker sliders, and stuff like that, and there's not a whole lot of people out there that do that. But if that's what you are into, then the 07 Fuel is a friggin' thick kite. So give that a shot for that.
Well, Jeff, here's another question. Is there another kite, or is this another kite that needs to be pumped up insanely hard?
Nope. It's another good thing. Pump it up average. I mean, pumping your kite up hard is a good thing. I mean, you're already pumping, 40 pumps into it, and might as well do 2 more and get it nice and rigid. But no, this isn't like previous first generation of bows where you had to, pump the crap out of it just to keep it stable, and then people thought that was the issue. This is taking care of the stability issues. So you pump this up to your average PSI, and you know what? I don't know exactly, so I'm not even going to guess on what the recommended PSI is, but it's in the manual, and it's not an issue as it was in the first generation of kites.
Here's another good question. What benefits does the link offer that the T2 can't, and why does SS really need the link?
Well, again, three platforms. There's such a huge difference between the Fuel and the T2. The T2 is a dedicated bow kite. The Fuel is a dedicated sea kite. The link is a hybrid. It's in the middle. It's not. It doesn't have the complete safety and the complete range that the Turbo has. The stability. It's a bit more. You could say it's a bit more of an advanced kite, just because I wouldn't put it onto a beginner right away. Not that a beginner couldn't learn on it. I mean, God knows I think I learned on a tarp with 2 lines and 30 knots, and I'm still walking around today. So, but the link is the in-between kite. It's the hybrid. It works great in the waves. It puts a little farther back in the window. Doesn't quite have as much deep power and range. So we felt, we needed 3 kites in our range, and I think God, a lot of companies out there have 4 or 5 different kites and trying to go different ways. I think with the sea kite, bow kite, and a hybrid, it's going to take care of all of your needs and all your preferences. So, hope that answered that question. I get a little carried away.
No, I mean that's good. I mean that's a good question because there is a differentiation between the 3 kites, and I think that's something you made a very valid point. Is that the Link is more of a hybrid kite, and whereas the Turbo Diesel 2 is more of a bow kite or a bow style kite. So anyway, let's move on. There's a couple other questions. Here's a good one. This one comes from the lounge. What is there to keep the leash from accidentally clipping into a steering line when you release the kite?
Good question. Well, we've changed the connecting mechanism on that connects up to the center line up there, and that was a problem that I've heard that had happened in the past. Is when the bar did release, that was it could clip. So we basically put that on there, right there. So there's no accidental opening or grabbing on anything else. They'll flag the kite immediately with no snags. So the old ones, I believe, up top had that, which is easily opened and could run down a line and snag onto it. So we just replaced that, and that should solve that issue 100%.
Well, there's another question, too, about the release on the chicken loop. Has Slingshot addressed the issue with the releasing prematurely?
You know what? That's a good question, and I'm not sure that there has been any change except for the stiffness maybe in the bungee to pull it. Because it used to be something that happened to me. If you're unhooking a lot, then yeah, it's something that you can bump into and accidentally release. And I think they might have just going to have to actually confirm this, because it hasn't happened to me in a while, and I think that's one thing that's a concern that I've addressed to them many, many times, and it feels like the bungees are just a little bit more stiff, so it takes a little bit more to pull that thing down to reopen it. So again, don't quote me on it. That's the only thing you can't quote me on, because I'm not 100% sure what the exact details of that one are. Maybe if there's a Slingshot person right now, like Dano, if he can Skype me, I can answer that question straight from the Slingshot Tech office. So I'll get back to that if I can in a second.
Someone from the lounge, they wanted to know what your stance is, how your stance is set up on your board, on your surfboard. And I know I saw it in the background there, so maybe you could actually show it to people if it's not too much work.
Yeah, the only board I have here at the Border Magazine is I've got a 5.5 SRT, and if you're referring to my back foot stance on where it is we've moved the back foot screws and given you more options to move them back farther. We felt that the placement was a little bit too far forward, and some people actually would just modify and put some inserts and move it back a little bit. So the new SRTs, if that's what you're referring to, have that option to move your foot back farther. When I'm riding a surfboard and an SRT or any wave board, you want your back foot back in between the fin, the two fins, and the thruster fin, where you're going to get the most performance. So that's where my stance is, and I've basically over the years just widened and widened and widened my stance with freestyle and with everything, just for more stability. I actually learned that on the golf course the other day too. I had a little lesson, and somebody told me that just widen your stance a little bit in everything that you do, and you're going to be more stable. So it makes sense.
Well, Jeff, let's get on to, I mean, we're going to wrap this thing up probably in about 10 minutes, just because I want to make it through some of these personal questions, and just due to the technical difficulties, we'll run this a little bit longer. But Toby from Kite Forum, he has a personal question he wants to ask you. What gives you the most fun on the water these days? What I guess basically he assumes wave riding, but what about wake style and old school stuff? Are you still doing any of these? And are you up to date with the latest wake style tricks?
Well, let's see. That's a good question. What gives me the most fun on the water these days is probably two different things, and one is the waves. After years and years of freestyle riding and wake style riding, the waves are a constant playground. I think you can see the industry, has recognized that. And flat water is fun. Flat water is great, but the waves are definitely a lot more fun. And what also gives me enjoyment is trying new things. I used to be really set in my ways on what I thought equipment-wise was right. I like riding different things now, and this low-kite project that I signed up for here with Slingshot has opened my mind, and I love testing new gear and riding new gear and stuff like that. Am I up to date with wake-style moves? Yeah, I know everything that's going on. Do I do them? Not all of them. We got Ruben Lenton, who's 19 years old, who is pretty much a master at all that stuff, and he's really into that, and he's got a younger body. So I'm coming off of a year of 2 knee surgeries, cracked foot, and some bruised ankles. So no doubt that at a high level, at a competition level of kiting, that it's hard on the body. So I don't do too many kite loop handle passes and stuff like that anymore, just because I want to be able to walk when I'm 60. and I'm just really enjoying riding with friends, riding the waves, not competing, and trying to develop new products and address all these problems that I used to have, and now being able to actually address them and work with a really good R&D team and get these issues fixed and put the best product out. So I don't know. Maybe that's mature a little bit. The injury definitely matured me. When you sit on a couch and sit between the gym and the couch for about 8 or 9 months and can barely walk, I think you go through a little bit of a life-changing experience. And I guess that's calmed me down a little bit. I think I've definitely mellowed out in my riding and in my lifestyle. And that's not to say that I'm not out there having fun, but I'd much rather get a 10-foot barrel than pull a kite loop handle pass these days. So it's kind of where my focus is. And most of the guys that I ride with, from my, generation or from my crew, are really into waves also. So, I ride with Martine, with Ben, with Will, with Rio, with Felix, and these guys. I live in Hawaii. I'm surrounded by waves. So that's where I spend most of my time. But I still get out there and actually started getting back into doing a little bit of the old school freestyle, transitions and grab transitions and big spins and stuff and all this stuff I haven't done in a while, and going a little bit old school. Just having fun out there, doing what I can do.
Well, here's a question that someone slipped in. What's up with the new boards with Slingshot besides the Misfit and the SX?
Well, we've got, our Lightning board, the Glide, but actually I don't have the information sheet in front of me on the board. We'll still be doing the SRTs, and we've got a few of the projects in the works on surfboards that I can't even really talk about right now because they're just in the works. And if I was at the R&D facility right down the street, I could pan around and show you what we got working, because we've got about 45 boards down there that we've been testing and trying, but I don't think I'm allowed to just because we're not to the stage of releasing them yet. But there's just as much going on in the board line as there is in the kite line. I'm just not at liberty to speak about that yet. So that's about all I can really say on that one. Just keep your eyes peeled. Information will be out soon.
Well, and here's another question, back more on the personal level. You've been involved in this sport, Jeff. You and I have known each other for years. We've drank a lot of beers together and seen a lot of places together. And I've watched you, throughout your career, going from doing moves like the heart attack and coloring your hair blue to, charging huge waves, in Oz. And it's just been really great to see, your career as it unfolded, and now you're in a whole different place in the sport. And how do you see the sport should develop? And since you've seen the sport develop since almost day one.
Yeah, wow. It's a question. I think I don't know. As a pro rider for 6 years, I think you get asked that at least 2 or 3 times a year. Where's the sport going to go? How's it going to develop? And
I guess what I mean is, to clarify, is like where would you like to see it go, or what do you want to see in the future?
What I would like to, I would like to see what everyone wants to see. I'd like to see the sport grow safely, and I think that's the path we're going down. The sport's going to grow, it's going to continue to grow. Why wouldn't it? How much fun is it? We all know that. So, I just think growing in a safe way is going to be a really important thing, so we don't screw up our beach accesses, and they ride safely, and the equipment becomes as safe as possible. It's very high up on the important list here at Slingshot is making the equipment as safe and durable as possible, so it's affordable and safe for people to get into the sport. So the sport's going to go off in every direction that it's continued to go off in. It's going to go off in the wake style direction. It's going to go off in the waves, and it's going to go off in the freestyle. You guys are going to go out and ride in the flat water and jump around and have a great time. So I just wanted to go off in a safe direction, and everybody have a good time with it. So I've mellowed out in the way that I ride over the last few years and everything, but there's still little Ruben. He's 18, actually. He's not even 19. He's 18 years old, and he's a little mental, out of control little kid. And there's a bunch of those kids out there, and they're the ones that are going to be actually taking the reins from here and telling us what the sport's going to really be like. But so we got to keep an eye on those guys.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of somebody I once knew.
Well, I think maybe you mature or something like that. I don't know. But you know what? I'm still as loose as I ever was. I get other little kids to do my things for me, so I don't get in trouble, because jail's not a good place to be, and being injured is not a good place to be. So I'm still as loose as ever, but just do it in a more responsible way.
Well, here's another question too. Is like, you came from, you're part of the Chris Wyman days. I believe Wyman is one of the original guys who signed you, and I mean that's like Wyman was the original team manager and big played a major role in branding Slingshot into what it is today. And what was that like?
I was one of God. If I break my career up into segments, that was the first segment, and Chris Wyman, who helped establish Slingshot, was always a mentor, and he'll always be an important part of my career and of my life. I remember I was on the beach, I had my cell phone in my pocket, watching Martin, who I'd just become friends with, watching him out there with Pete Cabrina and doing spins and all this stuff, and I was just going, God, I got to get some kind of deal going. And my phone rang, and it was Chris Wyman, and he said, hey, I got word that you can kite, and I want to check you out. I got your ticket to the Gorge. You'll be next week. I'm going to pay you $300 a month. Come ride for Slingshot. Swear to God, true story. And he was a huge inspiration. He took me in from there, and I've been with the company ever since. He's left and moved on, He's one of those guys that always needs something fresh and something new. And but he was a big part of the first part of my career and got me into Slingshot. And I guess I'll use this as the props time when I give my shout-outs to, all my sponsors. And definitely Slingshot is no doubt the biggest company that's been out there. It supported me through good and bad. Like I said, I spent 8 months on the couch and in the gym getting paid, and I can't thank them enough for that. So they supported me through all these times, and I think with that support that they've given us as riders, it's allowed us to develop and push the sport to the next level. And I think no other company like Slingshot has actually given riders the freedom to do as much as we want. I've had custom kites built by Tony Lagos, since I was doing my first kite loops and pushing me in different directions and just supporting me in everything I've wanted to do. And now here we are, 7 years later, all that input and all that learning and all that freedom was put into the kites that we're building now. So I can't thank Slingshot enough for all the support and being committed to the sport as a hardcore company with the best customer service and trying their best to put out the absolute best product. And the R&D team, a lot of these companies out there, good companies, great guys, but just, copycat other things and make a buck on it. And Slingshot it's an R&D company. Always has been, always will. Everything starts in the shop. It doesn't start by looking at something else. It all starts as a brainchild of one of our guys and goes through the testing trials and tribulations. And some things work, some things don't, but you guarantee everything that we do, we put 100% into. And so the R&D team is really the magic driving force behind Slingshot, backed up by the customer service. And they've treated me great. They've treated everybody great. So that's my shout out to Slingshot. Probably talked a little too much there. Can I get a raise?
Hey, dude, we lost the connection again, but you know what? We can wrap this up. Well, Jeff, dude, I want to thank you for coming on the show. I've got 30 seconds left on this card.
Yeah, thanks to everybody out there for tuning in. Sorry if it came out a little bit lax. The conditions are, less than optimum. We're not in Hollywood. Tune in to watch the post show after Ryan edits everything, gets it all dialed. And one more shout out to all my sponsors.
Well, Jeff, I just want to say thanks for coming on the show, and we'll be talking to you soon.